Janet, are you feeling all right?
Stop calling me Janet.
Isn't that your name?
The Conjuring 2 is the second addition to the famous Conjuring series, which changed the horror cinema forever. The Conjuring series is undoubtedly the greatest horror movie series, maybe because it is based on real-life events.
Well, we've been called demonologists. It's one name for us. Ghost hunters, paranormal researchers.
Kooks.
In today's video, we're going to talk about the real story behind Conjuring 2, which is famously known as the Enfield Poltergeist.
Just part of it. The girl levitated.
And we made a video on the real story of the Conjuring 1 too, so make sure to check it out if you haven't. The Conjuring 2 is based on a real-life story that took place in the late 70s. It is famously known as the Enfield Poltergeist.
Yeah. It was,
The story starts with a single parent, Peggy Hodgson, who was disturbed from her sleep by loud noises from her daughter's room.
Sensible voices.
Thinking they were fighting, she expected to just go and tell them to stop and go to sleep. Except when she opened the door, she found Janet and Margaret backed into a corner, terrified, as they told their mother that the chest of drawers had been moving on its own to the door.
it's a lie,
She didn't believe them at first, of course, but then Peggy witnessed it moving herself, and she found she couldn't even move it herself. Understandably, the entire family fled their home that night to their neighbors, Vic and Peggy Nottingham.
What's he doing?
Oh, we've taught him to ring the bell when he wants to go.
After Vic Nottingham investigated the home himself, hearing strange noises in the house, Peggy decided to call the police for help.
Look, the police are at our house.
And even though one officer claimed to have seen a chair move clear across the room, they deduced that it was not a police matter.
There's nothing we can do about that.
The Hodgsons seemed to be all on their own, and this was only the beginning of the torment that reportedly lasted 18 months.
Oh my God, Janet, Nellie gave me a heart attack.
Peggy eventually called for help, the first time through the well-known publication, The Daily Mirror, to investigate their home. Of course, when the reporter arrived, the activity stopped. Curiously, it started up again when the photographer was hit by a Lego brick in the face, hard enough to leave a mark for a few days.
It's when Lego bricks began to fly at high speed around the living room.
The Daily Mirror was not the only one investigating this haunting, though. Contacted by the Daily Mirror, the Society for Psychical Research sent Maurice Grosse to investigate the case. While the reporters of the Daily Mirror didn't witness much, Grosse witnessed much more activity while staying in the Hodgson home.
I think there's any doubt about it at all. The sheer number of documented incidents in this case is absolutely staggering.
More furniture moving on its own, fires, and even voices were reported during his time there.
10th, 1977 we're talking about. I was sitting in the room, in the front room there, downstairs, with the mother and the children, and we were just talking, and suddenly there was whistling.
Janet, who was seemingly the most targeted, remembers the most terrifying moment when a curtain wrapped itself around her neck next to her bed.
Yeah, I'm here. Do you know when you'll be home?
Grosse was eventually joined by other paranormal researchers, including the famous researchers Ed and Lorraine Warren.
You have to promise me that we're just there to observe. If anything turns out dangerous in any way, we're going to tell the church and we're going to get out.
Though their involvement in the Hodgson case was inflated for the film, they were adamant that it was a real haunting the family had experienced. Janet Hodgson, only 11 at the time of these events, then reportedly began to speak in the voice of the poltergeist that was tormenting them. Janet would go into a trance, then begin speaking in a deep and scratchy voice, a voice that claimed to be the previous owner of the house, Bill Wilkins.
Bill who?
My name is Bill Wilkins.
It would be confirmed that a Bill Wilkins did reside at that address previously to the Hodgsons and died in their living room from a hemorrhage.
Why not?
He wants her so badly.
But perhaps the most recognizable thing to happen to Janet was her reported levitation, documented in infamous photographs of her in a red nightgown, floating midair in the bedroom that she shared with her sister. The photo itself has been the center of a lot of debate, yet it remains one of the most famous levitation pictures ever. Of course, many cast their doubts on the events, claiming the children were behind the elaborate hoax and were faking their demonic symptoms. 2 SPR experts adamantly questioned Janet's gruff voice and later caught the children bending spoons themselves.
Used to it, and you learn to accept the things that happen. It's like recovery.
In fact, Janet admitted that she and her siblings fabricated a few events. So in the Conjuring 2 movie, they exaggerated the events and inflated the involvement of Ed and Lorraine Warren. Ed and Lorraine Warren had a very small role in the real Enfield Poltergeist case.
Whoa. I can't explain it. My heart is telling me to believe them.
Any horror movie that is made on real-life events exaggerate the original cases for a more thrilling experience for the audience. But surprisingly, a lot of the family's actual reports made it in. There's even the mention of the Lego brick that was sent flying, the chest of drawers, the family fleeing the house, Maurice Grosse investigating, along with others. All that was made up for the movie was the more in-depth role for Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Falling in love with you.
Including the conclusion of The Haunting, and of course everyone's favorite demonic nun, Valak.
Who's that?
Valak was a very late addition to the film itself, originally just a demon, but changed to Valak's now very recognizable form in post. It of course also manifests as the Crooked Man, who was also another addition to the film. Conjuring 2 is considered as the best movie of the series. Its unpredictable jump scares and a thrilling storyline makes this movie as one of the greatest horror films to ever exist.
My house!
I hope you liked the video. Make sure to like and subscribe and turn on the bell icon so you never miss another one of our videos.
You said one person could change everything. But I've got two.